All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Naresh Margo. The headlines. Nationwide mock drill to be conducted in all hospitals today to assess COVID emergency preparedness in the country. Karnataka becomes the first state in recent months to make wearing of masks compulsory at public places. Ukrainian President thanks India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi for humanitarian aid, wishes successful G20 Presidency. Delhi High Court says services in Delhi government come under control of central government. First batch of Agniveers selected under Agnipath scheme from Jammu and Kashmir joins Indian Army. Severe cold wave conditions will continue in North India till Thursday, and Lovlina Borgohain and Nikhat Zareen win gold medals at Women's Boxing National Championship in Bhopal. A nationwide mock drill will be conducted in all the hospitals today to check the COVID-19 emergency preparedness in the country. The drill will be conducted in view of the rising COVID-19 cases in some countries, including China, US, and other countries. During the drill, resources available in hospitals to fight COVID will be assessed, including infrastructure readiness with particular focus on oxygen plants, ventilators, logistics, and human resources. The decision to carry out the drill comes days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a review meeting on the COVID situation in the country. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia will visit Safdarjung Hospital in New Delhi. He will be present there during the scheduled mock drill of the hospital to handle any kind of emergent situation in view of the rising COVID cases globally. We spoke to Director of LNJP Hospital Delhi about today's mock drill.
लोकनायक अस्पताल क्योंकि सबसे बड़ा दिल्ली का अस्पताल है, 25,000 से ज्यादा पेशेंट यहाँ ठीक होकर कोविड के जा चुके हैं। मॉक ड्रिल में सारा जो प्रिपेयर्डनेस है, जो तैयारी है, उसका हम रिव्यू कर रहे हैं। उसमें आईसीयू बेड्स हैं, वेंटिलेटर हैं, बाईपैप है, ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई चेन है, हमारा जो स्टाफ है, डॉक्टर्स, नर्सेज, टेक्नीशियन, पैरामेडिक्स, उसका सारा ट्रेनिंग और उसको नई जानकारी हम देंगे।
December 27 is also observed as International Day of Epidemic Preparedness by the United Nations. The Karnataka government has made wearing of masks mandatory in schools, colleges, movie theatres, pubs, restaurants and bars. In an order issued yesterday, guidelines were also issued on making COVID tests mandatory in influenza-like illness, ILI, and severe acute respiratory infections, SARI, cases. The guidelines also imposed COVID-related restrictions on New Year celebrations. More from our correspondent.
Karnataka reported 23 new COVID cases yesterday and has a case load of 1,229. Looking at the surge in COVID cases abroad, the state government has made masks mandatory. It has also increased COVID tests from 2,000 to 5,000. People have been asked to take the booster dose of the vaccine. The hospitals are reviewing their infrastructure and availability of oxygen. The Health Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar has said that there is no need to panic as the herd immunity in the country is better due to 100% two-dose vaccination. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
China is set to cancel quarantine requirements for inbound international arrivals starting from January 8. National Health Commission said management of COVID-19 will also be downgraded from Class A to Class B, which means there will be no sealed control of COVID-19 cases and designation of high-risk areas. Here is more in this report.
This decision is seen as the country's last step in shedding 3 years of zero COVID and pivoting to living with the virus. Category B management means COVID-19 only requires necessary treatment and measures to curb the spread. Meanwhile, cases are surging at unimaginable speeds, including nationwide shortages of test kits and medication. Hospitals are swarmed with COVID cases and ICUs are full with severe cases. Crematoriums are burdened with rising death toll in many cities. Meanwhile, China has also stopped sharing the hospitalization data with WHO for last 2 weeks. Anshuman Mishra, AIR News, Beijing.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has conveyed India's support for any peace efforts in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. In a telephonic conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky yesterday, the Prime Minister assured India's commitment to continue providing humanitarian assistance for the affected civilian population. Reiterating for an immediate cessation of hostilities, Mr. Modi said that both sides should revert to dialogue and diplomacy to find a lasting solution to their differences. The two leaders also discussed opportunities for strengthening bilateral cooperation. Mr. Modi requested Ukrainian authorities to facilitate arrangements for the continued education of Indian students who had to return from Ukraine earlier this year. Mr. Zelensky also conveyed his best wishes for India's G20 presidency. President Draupadi Murmu was accorded a grand ceremonial reception on her arrival at the Air Force Station Hakimpet in Telangana yesterday. The President is on a winter sojourn to Rashtrapati Nilayam at Bolaram on the outskirts of Hyderabad. Mrs. Murmu arrived by a special IAF plane at Shamshabad Airport and left immediately for Srishailam along with Telangana Governor Dr. Tamilisai Sundarajan and Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy. She inaugurated Prasad project at the Tourism Facilitation Center in the pilgrim town of Srishailam in Andhra Pradesh. The Delhi High Court has ruled that Delhi being a union territory, services in Delhi government come under the control of the central government. Justice Chandradhari Singh said that the services under the NCT of Delhi are necessarily the services of the union and they are expressly covered only by entry 70 of List 1. The High Court further said that Delhi, unlike states, has no State Public Service Commission. Justice Singh said the Legislative Assembly of NCT of Delhi has no legislative competence to legislate in respect of any subject covered under entries 1, 2 and 18 of State List and entry 70 of the Union List. In view of Section 41 of the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Act 1991, the Lieutenant Governor is required to act in his discretion in respect of these matters and not on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The first ever batch of Agniveers selected under Agnipath scheme from Jammu and Kashmir joined the Indian Army for training as Agniveer General Duty, Agniveer Technical, Agniveer Clerk, Storekeeper Technical and Agniveer Tradesman. Approximately 200 candidates selected after rigorous tests including physical tests, medical tests, written examination and document verification have been dispatched from Army Recruiting Office Srinagar to about 30 training centers of various regiments of the Indian Army. The candidates report for training between 25th to 30th December 2022 and their training shall commence with effect on the 1st of January. The centre has approved projects worth around 2,700 crore rupees for developing sewerage infrastructure in the Ganga Basin. Out of these projects, 12 pertain to developing the sewerage infrastructure in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal. Along with this, afforestation programs for the year 2022-23 for Uttarakhand and Bihar were also approved at an estimated cost of 42.8 crore rupees. A Mumbai court has remanded former ICICI Bank CEO and MD Chanda Kochar, her husband Deepak Kochar and Videocon Group founder Venugopal Dhoot in CBI custody till December 28 in connection with a loan fraud case. The Kochars were arrested by the probe agency on Friday night after a brief questioning session while Dhoot was arrested yesterday. Under the aegis of our year-ender series, the News Services Division of All India Radio brings an exclusive interview of Shri R.K. Singh, Union Minister for Power and New and Renewable Energy, on various initiatives and achievements of the ministries. Talking about India's recent ascension to the G20 Presidency, he said we'll share our experience with the developed nations, both in access as well as energy transition.
We will share our experience with them. They would like us to share our experience with them, both in access as well as in energy transition. And both are actually a part of sustainable development goals. We will share what we did and what we did, other people can do. That is how we see it. Except very poorest countries, they will need assistance. The developed countries will have to come forward and give that assistance to the poor countries in Africa, etc. Where access has not happened, where people are still deprived of electricity.
This interview can be heard on FM Gold channel from 7:10 p.m. onwards in Surkio Mein and from 9:15 p.m. onwards in Spotlight tonight. This interview will also be available on our website newsonair.gov.in and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. The India Meteorological Department IMD has said the cold wave conditions will continue in northern India till Thursday. Talking to AIR News, IMD Director General Dr. Mrityunjay Mohapatra said the dense fog conditions prevailing in parts of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and other parts of the country will continue for the next 2 days.
Cold wave conditions are prevailing over some parts of northwest India. Temperatures are about 3 to 7 degrees Celsius in different parts and 4 to 6 degrees Celsius below normal. These cold to severe cold wave conditions over northwest India will continue till 29. Thereafter, temperature will rise and cold wave conditions will abate. It is mainly because on 29, we are expecting western disturbance affecting northwest India with rain or snowfall over Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. As a result, temperature will increase. So towards the new year, the temperature will be near normal and hence the cold wave conditions will be abated.
Centre for Economics and Business Research, CEBR, a British consultancy, has said India will become the third largest economy by 2035 from the current fifth spot. In its annual World Economic League table, the Centre for Economics and Business Research said that over the next 5 years, India's annual rate of GDP growth is expected to average 6.4%, after which growth is expected to average 6.5% in the subsequent 9 years. Saudi Arabia's embassy in Pakistan called on its citizens to exercise caution after the authorities raised the security alert in Islamabad to its highest level. It has warned all citizens residing and visiting Pakistan to take caution and not to go out except for necessity. Saudi Arabia's statement comes after several countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom and Australia, issued travel advisories for Pakistan. Union Minister for Sports and Youth Affairs Anurag Thakur felicitated sports personalities for the year 2020 at the Madhya Pradesh Shikhar Khel Alankaran ceremony in Bhopal yesterday. The logo of the Khelo India Youth Games 2022 to be held in Madhya Pradesh was also unveiled by Mr. Thakur and Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan on the occasion. Addressing the program, Mr. Thakur said that the sports infrastructure in Madhya Pradesh is better, and if the players come to the Khelo India Youth Games, they will get better memories of the beautiful city like Mahakal, Lok and Bhopal, as well as the sports in Bhopal. He informed that by August 15 next year, 1,000 Khelo India centers will be open in the country. Lovlina, Borgohain and Nikhat Zareen have won gold medals at the Women's National Boxing Championship 2022 in Bhopal, while Lovlina Borgohain beat Arundhati Chaudhary of Services 5-0 in the 75kg final. Nikhat Zareen defeated Anamika of Railways 4-1 in the final of the 50kg category. Haryana's Manisha 57kg and Saviti Bora 81kg, Railway Sports Promotion Board Sakshi 52kg, Madhya Pradesh's Manju Moria 66kg also clinched gold medals in their respective categories. And now for a look at today's newspapers. It's over to you, Saira.
Thank you, Naresh. Most newspapers have mentioned as front page headlines the arrest of former ICICI Bank CEO Chanda Kochar, her husband Deepak Kochar and Videocon chairman Venugopal Dhut over bribery allegations. The CBI has reopened a corruption case for alleged graft and allotment of railways projects against former Railways Minister Lalu Prasad and his family, writes The Pioneer. Mock drills across India today on hospitals' COVID readiness, says the Asian Age. Hyderabad's Hetero Group is the world's first firm to back WHO's pre-qualification of medicines program for a generic version of oral COVID treatment, Nirmatrelvir, reports the Times of India. The Hindu quotes PM Modi as saying on Veerbal Divas that a nation like India with such a glorious history must be full of self-confidence and self-respect, adding that the new India is correcting the mistakes of the bygone decades by restoring its legacy. Counting on India to broker peace with Russia, Zelensky in phone call to Modi, reports the Tribune. Time C charging port must from December 2024, writes the Times of India. And finally, one of the leading economy consultancies in the UK, CEBR, has said that unstoppable India will become the third $10 trillion economy by 2035, reports the Hindu Business Line. And with that, it's back to you, Naresh.
Thank you, Saira. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Nationwide mock drill to be conducted in all hospitals today to assess COVID emergency preparedness in the country. Karnataka becomes the first state in recent months to make wearing of masks compulsory at public places. Ukrainian President thanks India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi for humanitarian aid, which is successful G20 Presidency. Delhi High Court says services in Delhi government come under control of central government. First batch of Agniveers selected under Agnipath scheme from Jammu and Kashmir joins Indian Army. Severe cold wave conditions to continue in North India till Thursday. And Lovlina Borgohain and Nikhat Zareen win gold medals at Women's Boxing National Championship in Bhopal. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.